We are facing death, illness, suffering, anxiety, fear. You cannot be grateful what is happening to you. People are dying. When I see a patient in a hospital doesn't work in a mental health way, do you ever remember how a surgeon made an incision? No. You will remember how kindly that person spoke to you. Namaskar. I'm deeply privileged and I feel honored by this invitation today by Rotarian newbies and District 3291. And it's such a flatteringly wonderful introduction by Shushmita, Dr. Ray, and I really feel really kind of honored. And also to my gratitude to our DG, Mr. Mukherjee, all the Rotarians and the audience today. We are going to share, I want it to be interactive in the end, but today we are thinking together how to navigate with our deeper wisdom and courage at this time of crisis. Before I talk about, it's a talk, but I hope some part of it will be experiential. And before any talk we do, to tune in together, I would like to chant a Vedic chant that talks about fearlessness in front of fear. Triambakam jajamahe Sugandhim pushtivardhanam Urvarakramiva bandhyanam Mritur Himukshimamrita Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, and deep peace. We are going through an extraordinary critical time, and I don't have to overemphasize this, especially in our country in India. In Kolkata, we are facing death, illness, suffering, anxiety, fear, everyday basis. My friends and families, I get this message from such a distance sitting in London, where we are coming out of lockdown. In 17th of May, everything will be open. But I struggle with the pain, such a distance. And we thought, I work with children with serious mental illness and neurodevelopmental disorders. But the impact of COVID is not only in our physical health. I see it every day. The impact is on mental, emotional, physical, and social health. It is disconnected us from each other within ourselves, fragmenting us. A surge of fear and anxiety of our own health, our own survival is in our face. So much so we feel crippled with these anxieties. However, today's session is all about how we can hold this fear with greater peace. How can we face with anxieties, which is normal in this unprecedented, abnormal times. We can have anxieties, but how can you not overwhelm with this fear? We can be anxious, but there are ways what we can travel and navigate our lives so we are not afraid. In Bengali, আমি ভয় করব না, দুবেলা মরার আগে মরব না. I'm not going to die before I'm dead. And how can we do that? How can we transform this energy of the fear? The energy of the fear is the tumultuous waves of an ocean. But ocean, if you navigate a little farther, you know the ocean, the same waves slowly calm down into calm waters. And how can an able sailor can navigate through the waves and the storm and go there? This is our topic today. What we are learning through this crisis. This is a time of sometimes you need to think, not just a crisis as an opportunity for growth, to recalibrate our lives, to rethink and reform, revalue, recalibrate our lives in the way we can live happier and better, in greater well-being and hope and optimism. And how can we do that? How can we learn tuning it better in this sacred nature, which we completely forgot? We abuse nature. We have 500 friends and 5,000 friends in our Facebook, but we don't have 5 friends to talk to. When we are in lockdown, I know Kolkata has been going to lockdown in next 2 weeks. We are disconnected, but how now we know we crave for that human connections and relationship, and the deep-seated relationship, as happiness researchers would say, are the most important factors that makes us happy. How come we're not sucked into information? Because we have the loads of information. We know every day about newspapers and so many places that throws us with a gauntlet of information, statistics, and all of the things. Is it helping us? We do need to follow signs. We need to know how to put a mask, how to do a social distancing. The 2 meters are important, how to keep ourselves safe. But at the same time, we don't need information nowadays. We need transformation. And how can we transform ourselves, the way of our being, to live our life in new ways, to navigate not only this crisis, but through our lives with rejuvenated wisdom. It's not about knowledge. Knowledge is somehow in the mind level. What I'm talking about, the wisdom comes in the deeper sense of knowing. And we have to know that inner wisdom is already within us. We are that cosmic energy arising in deep intelligence, utter beauty and bliss. But how can we in touch with that inner awareness? How can we create a more resilience? Resilience is not about going and navigating through the adversities, but bouncing back. How can we bounce back? In a growth mindset. Carol Dweck, one of the psychological researchers, talked about fixed mindset and growth mindset. So what are we learning here? How can learn from each other, from ourselves, from nature? Simply, I have a little formula here, which I'll go through one by one. And we have to remember, because the impact in so much in our mental and emotional health, and we are talking in this mental awareness month. But as Einstein said, solving a problem from the same level is not possible. So we go to a deeper level of courage and wisdom that we talked about. Courage comes from a French word, cœur, means heart. And how can we be courageous in front of this fear and corona? How can we still open our heart? Because our heart closes in fear. The field of trust and field of fear doesn't go together. Courage means, or faith means, of deep-seated courage and trust in life. How can we still open our heart and be courageous? The formula is ACT. ACT. Let's go one by one. And I will talk about some practical ways to deal with and develop this awareness and resilience and transformation I'm talking about. Number 1, A. A is for awareness and acceptance. Now, Awareness is not about just awareness of COVID, what's going on socially, scientifically, what are the new research coming up, and what are the remdesivir or corticosteroids, or how can I have more oxygen and where can I find? Yes, we need to do that, all that practically. It doesn't help us to overcome our fears or anxieties or low mood or whatever it is. Awareness is a deeper sense of awareness where we start accepting in an active way. It's not passively accepting, okay, I'm fearful, I am done, I'm going to die. The acceptance comes from first stopping, giving a purposeful pause, a deeper sense of tuning in. And what do you mean by stop? The first stage is stopping, because when we are in this crisis moments, we become very frantic. We try to solve this problem. We try to solve our crisis. And what happens if you are swimming in muddy waters and try to find a precious thing and try to frantically to find this one, the water gets more muddy. You can't find it because your vision is not clear. Unless we are in stillness, unless we calm down, when are we still? The water muds settle down and we can see more clearly. So how can we be more still? I heard a lot of talk about being positive and this and that. Positivity doesn't come. If you talk in a most depressed person, the people I see every day, be positive, it doesn't work. Yes, positive affirmations I'll talk about in a little later part. But you need to be still first. Be in a calm waters, and that comes with practice. Positivity arises. Optimism arises from that calmness. Stop means S-T-O-P. S for stopping, giving it a pause. And that can be practiced in every moment. I'll come in a second. T for take 3 breaths of awareness. Breath is always there. Think about this. This coronavirus, where it affects is our respiratory system, our breath. Being aware of our breath, being alive in this present moment is so important, so that every breath becomes a prayer. Every breath is your anchor. It is always there with you to pay attention to. You can meditate, be aware of your every breath in every moment. Stop. Take 3 breaths. Oh, observe. Because we don't observe. We just run around frantically doing this, either in the past. Oh my God, somebody died. Oh my God, this is happening. It's happening to me. Or in future, I'm going to die. People might, whatever happens, I'm going to fail. I'm going to lose my job. Either in the past or in the future, but not in the present moment. When we stop, we take few breaths, be a little still. We observe what's going outside. We observe what is inside. I'm anxious. I'm fearful. I feel depressed. And then P is proceed towards your practices we are going to talk about in a second. But the first thing, without stopping, without pausing, you do not have a recognition and awareness of what's going on. And then comes acceptance. It is what it is right here, right now. I'm struggling. I am anxious. And it's okay. It's okay to be anxious. It is absolutely devastating time outside. And it is a normal reaction of anxiety to very abnormal situation outside. But I can tune in to my feeling if I stop. I can lean in to observe what's happening inside. Unless I stop, my mind and emotions in all over the place, grappling me. First, our lower brain, fear, flight, fight, and frozen responses in our amygdala and basal ganglia fires. Our frontal lobe, which is a problem-solving place, which actually inhibits these responses, can't work anymore, and our fear mode takes over. The whole brain explodes. Stop. Observe. Proceed. Accept. And it's not a passive acceptance, God, whatever happens, etc. It's an active acceptance. It is what it is right here, right now. I accept it. When you accept this anxiety, you are in a powerful space rather than rejecting it, rather than keeping it under the carpet, the pain. Because it comes mostly from Buddhist traditions. They say pain is everywhere. If you are able to understand and embrace the pain, you do not suffer. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is inevitable. But you have a choice not to suffer. And the first step of choice is having that radical acceptance. The accepting it is what it is right here, right now, at this moment. So that when you are calm, the next moment gives an opportunity to do something differently. Opportunity to transform, opportunity to turn things around. And if you call about what we call, this is what we're talking about, being in the present moment, and it's the ABC of that. A is paying attention to the present moment. What's happening right now? B is being with the experience, because what we do when we are frightened, we struggle. We don't want to struggle. No, it's not happening. Oh, COVID is not happening in Kolkata. We go to Bayabari and we thought that we are in denial of the fear. So what happens? We suffer. If we attend and being with the experience of fear and pain and struggle, people are dying and death in our family, then we can see it can create a distance. What is the distance? There is a stimulus. That is the pain, stimulus of fear. And reaction. A stimulus comes and we react. But if we are able to stop, think, take a breath, observe, we can slightly create a distance between the stimulus and the reaction. And that we call response. So we do not have to react to pain and fear and anxieties all the time. We can respond better. But the practice of stopping doesn't only come when you are in crisis. We can practice that every moment. The phone call comes just before jumping it, stop, take a breath, observe who is calling. Oh my God, my boss is calling. I'm a bit anxious. Oh my God, my family is calling. What happened to them? Observe what is raising. You are entering a door, stop, open the door, take a breath, move on. You are having a shave, stop. Feel the feeling, experience, being with the experience, where you are stopping moment by moment. Daily, you're drinking a cup of tea, stop, observe, smell, watch the color, feel the warmth. This brings powerfully in the present moment awareness, not in the past, not in the future. So we are not afraid back and forth. We are present, being with the experience, creating a distance between stimulus and a reaction. That means this is where you have a choice. Somebody driving a car and somebody honking at you, you react. But you can just stop, take a breath. And you know what? I'm not going to react to this guy. I'll never see him again. He's doing what he do. I can respond better. I can respond to Corona better. I do not have to react in fear. That's the first step, A. Stopping, being with awareness, and a radical acceptance. Coming to the next step, C. Now, C is about connecting. Connecting can happen in different levels. Connecting to myself first. Connecting to each other. Connecting to nature. But first is connecting to yourself. You know what? Unless we are kind to ourselves, unless we are self-compassionate, we can't look after anybody else. If you go in a travel in an aeroplane, you will see the air hostess first comes and give a lecture, and they will say, if you have a crash and you have a little child, but still you give the oxygen mask to yourself before you give to the child, because if you die, nobody survives. Be kind to ourselves, and there are evidence-based psychological ways how can be more compassionate. Compassion is mindful understanding and empathic reaction to suffering. So if you are suffering, are you tuning yourself to your suffering? Compassion is about the second step of compassion is about doing something about it. What are you doing for your own suffering? The third state of compassion is about intelligent kindness. Are you doing it intelligently? Like, what are you doing? You can be very kind and compassionate, but you can give money to a beggar and he goes and take drugs. What else can you do rather than money and food? That's intelligent kindness. If you're jumping in the river when you don't to save somebody and you don't know swimming yourself, that's not intelligent. So how can you be intelligently compassionate to yourself is a practice. And I'll tell you, you can look at the Kristin Neff's work with psychologists from Austin. There's a lot of, she's a beautiful speaker, TED speaker, and many other things in the YouTube. How to develop more self-kindness. First, mindful awareness at this moment that you are suffering, that you are struggling. So a mantra, self-compassion mantra can be, you know what? I am suffering. I am aware of that suffering and accept it is what it is. I just said. Unless you are aware of your struggling and accept it, it's difficult. So my first step of self-compassion is mindful tuning with your own suffering. In this Corona time, I'm struggling. I'm in fear. Again, stopping and knowing that you are struggling. The second step, I am not the only one. It's a common human experience. It's very easy to say that my father is dying and in ventilator. My husband is in Corona. Oh my God, oxygen level dropping. What's going to happen? I know it's very anxiety provoking, but at the time stopping and feeling, you know, I am struggling. My husband is struggling. It's reflecting on me. I am not the only one. It's the global phenomenon. It's a human shared suffering that we are going through. And it's not that this is the only time. It happened over and over again. It happened in plague times, in Middle Ages. It happened in Spanish flu. It's happening again. I am not the only one. And then, what are you going to do about it? How can you self-soothe? Can you distract yourself? Can you do something meaningful, purposeful? And you can do a range of things. I can come a little later. To remove your anxiety, you can do some sensory grounding. Very simple 5 steps, 5 senses, such as perhaps you're hearing you for the time being while you're looking after somebody else or yourself, listen to music. Perhaps smell something lavender or something makes you soothe. Very sensory, basic level grounding. Perhaps touch. Perhaps have a big, lovely shower. Perhaps you can't have a massage at the moment. What can you do physically to have touch? You can't even hug people. Can you hug a pillow? What can you do to have a soothing in your eyes? Can I watch something beautiful rather than information gathering? Can I watch a YouTube, an inspiring video? Can I have a tour? Can I do a funny music, funny thing that can help me? Use your senses for sensory grounding, tuning with yourself, your suffering, knowing you're not the only one, and then do something about it. I'm coming to doing in a later on, but first is being. Going to the calm waters is first awareness and being rather than doing. Don't be frantic. In connection also, one of the very important things, as I said, things cannot be solved in talking about mental health and panic attack. I am talking a little bit about philosophy, and we can learn from the philosophies from Eastern side, Western side, and I greatly teach or greatly champion one of the Western philosophies, 500 BC, started by Zeno, called Stoicism. Now, Stoic, I don't want to talk about philosophy, but Stoic philosophers like Musonius Rufus, Epictetus, and most importantly, Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, famous book Meditations. They simply talked Epictetus in his diary wrote a simple one line. Some things are up to us and other things are not. So knowing what is up to us and what is not is really important. What does it mean? Think about it. I call it zone 1 and zone 2. Some people have probably heard it saying many times. Zone 1 is something I can control, that I have in control of. And zone 2, I don't have any control. Now just think a little carefully. What do you have in zone 2? What come things that you can control and what you are not? Zone 2. Most of the things in life you cannot control. Weather, family, friends, corona, examinations, doctors, whoever it is in zone 2, the only thing we can control is in zone 1 is our thoughts and attitudes, which rises actions, our thought towards things, our reaction, our response to corona. So when we change the relationship, rather than trying to control the weather, control my husband, control corona, control other things in life, we can have a different relationship staying in zone 1. Then you do not suffer. Staying in zone 1 means, yes, you don't have to be passive, but you can relate to things differently, knowing that what can I control and what can I let go. You can probably heard about one of the things that AA, the Alcoholic Anonymous, use, and global organizations for addicts, for alcoholics, called serenity prayer. And that comes from Stoicism. The serenity prayer talks about God, give me the courage to accept the things that I cannot change, to radically accept the things that I cannot change, to know the things that I can change. That's zone 1. And the wisdom to know the difference. The wisdom is important here. If you look at the Viktor Frankl's work, one of the life-changing book he wrote, Man's Search for Meaning, comes from Stoicism again. This is a man in 1930s and 40s, and a psychiatrist sent to the prison in Auschwitz. His family gone in the chimneys. He's been made to do hard work, found it so difficult, every day broken and beaten. But he knew, I can use zone 1 in this denigrating, demeaning space, but I can relate to this differently. He put his hands in the pocket and bring out the crumbs of bread. He will smell them and think, you know what? One day I will go out of this prison and have breakfast with my family. Hope. And he wrote in his book that whatever circumstances may be, the last of the human freedom is one's attitude towards circumstances. And that's the freedom I'm talking about. That's the choice. Zone 1. No matter what the circumstances can be, our willingness to be free lies in how is our attitudes to any given set of circumstances. And we can do that outer defiance and internal freedom. The corona grapples up in fear, and we have a choice to keep our heart open. I talked about courage is core, the courageous trust to life. That is faith. Faith is not a monopoly of this religiosity and stuff. Faith is about the courageous trust to life and hope and living, and that aliveness and joy that we can still feel in every moment of crisis. That joy, that positivity arises from that stillness and this joy and aliveness. When we are alive, look at a child. Even these fears of corona, they are playing. They are fearless. What can I learn from them? When they play, They're in joy, they're alive, they're mindful, they're in present moment, they're not back and forth. What I can learn from them is that moment by moment of joy and aliveness. They find little things very happy, they feel joyful. Can we find little things in this crisis which makes us in joy and aliveness? What brings us joy in this moment? Can we find this? Can we stop? Can we take a breath? Can we observe and proceed to that little things that brings us joy and aliveness? And that when meaning flows in our life, life still becomes meaningful. When we are mindful in the present moment and alive moment by moment, meaning comes back to our life. So number 2, A and C is connect. Now I'm going to go a little bit. I hope I will be in good time. T is take action, and take action is transformation. Think about this. I will go back to our own kind of, it's not religious, but it's kind of, Gita is a crisis intervention psychotherapy. We can learn a lot from Gita. Think about in first chapter, Arjuna, a great warrior, sits and just gives up and sits there. Arjuna Bisada Yoga. He's depressed. He's anxious. He's mukhancha parishishyati. His mouth is dry. Bepatu sharire. He's trembling. And then Krishna comes up. Don't think Krishna is a religious figure. Thinks about a mentor, comes up and says, Klaibang mashma gamaha partha etattaina upapaddate. Don't be depressed. It doesn't actually shows good on you. Ita tumay manay na. Then he says later on in second chapter, Uddharit manatmanang nanatmanang avasadayat atmaibo atmana ritu atmaibo ripu atmana. You know what? You can rescue yourself. No, you don't need a guru. You don't need a mentor. You don't need a speaker like me. You can rescue yourself. Uddharit manatmanam. And how? You can transform the way that you think. How? Your mind is your enemy. Your mind is your friend. Transform your mind. The quality of engagement in the battle has to change. That is yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani, third chapter. Yoga is not about having these exercises. Yoga is about having that internal sense of order, the harmony internally. Yoga is about creating the internal order where the quality of engagement is his life's battle is right. We can learn from that. I will tell you a story. The first thing about taking action and transformation is do not feed the fear. I'll tell you a story about the fear monster. The fear monster is a very ugly looking big monster comes in in a big country where the Raja, the king has gone away. So everybody looks at him and he comes in that kind of big hall of this, in the kind of palace, and everybody detests, oh my God, go away. And they get angry. The more the people, all these parishads and mantris and then kind of goes away, the monster goes a little bigger. And they hate him. And this foul smith, go away. More they do that, the monster gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And they comes and then sits in the throne of the king. I said, oh my God, you are sitting in the throne, go away. They try to beat him, throw stones, and he becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Then kings comes up suddenly and saw the monster, foul smelling, ugly looking, angry, fear monster sitting in his throne. And he says, oh, hello, welcome. Welcome to my kingdom. Can I make you a cup of tea? Oh, monster was not expecting that. He'd gone a little smaller. Then he starts talking with the king. More he is actually king, is friendly and talks and offer even if his kingdom, he gets smaller and smaller and smaller and then disappears. This is what's happening to fear. When we stop, when we accept, when we tune in, when we do not hate that fear monster, rather befriend the monster, hold it in a greater peace, we transform the fear. The waves become calm waters. And then you take life affirming actions. Take action means not sitting there and just transforming in your head. Take and cultivate curiosity. As I said, little things in life. You can't go out from tomorrow. You can't go in nature and in the park. Why can't you have a little pot in your balcony and water your nature and mindfully tune in the moment? Stop, take a breath, connect with that little pot and little sapling. Why can't you music? Why can you dance? What can you write a journal? Why can't you? This is the even opportunity to talk to the near people, sending, not talk about Corona, chat, have fun. Why can't you do that? Because you can befriend that anxiety monster, fear monster, and spend time with your little girl. Play Ludo. Do whatever you like. At the same time, don't allow the fear kind of hold you, because you hold on to the fear rather than fear holding you. See the big picture. This is again telling you in the Middle Ages, the story of 10 friends comes from in the plague times in the 1348 in the Florence. One of the greatest writers of the time, Boccaccio, he saw the people are dying on the streets. And imagine at the time, no antibiotics, do not know. They thought plague is coming through the air. So they are used to clear the air. It's not through the air. It's an infective disease, Pasteurella pestis. Basically, what the mothers are deserting their children. The brothers are deserting the brothers. It's horrible. People dying. 1/3 of the Europe population's gone. Black Death. It came over and over again. What Boccaccio did, same thing, almost without knowing, went out with 10 friends in Tuscany in a village, stayed there, relaxed, laughed, social distancing perhaps, in nature, spent and had kind of chitty chatter, playing music, having a dance. They can still be in joy. Rather than fear of death was there, you hold it with curiosity, but openness to this fear. Sometimes we can actually be dying every day. Your cells are dying every day, millions of cells called apoptosis. Death is inevitable. Do we practice death every day? When we keep death in front of our mouth, which we are forced to see, we know how can we value today is the best day of your life. Today, not tomorrow, today. Have you practiced death that Sufis does? Sufis goes and in the cemetery, lie in the cemetery. I did. It was very fearful. Shamans dig their own grave and lie there for 2-3 days when other people actually keep the grounds on them. Have you practiced death? This is the time to practice death because you are going to die. Everybody listening here are going to die. I am going to die. But that's why we are living together in this moment. Celebrate this moment. Be alive in this moment with joy. And this brings up another important practice of taking action to transform your life is gratitude practice. I cannot talk about too much about the evidence base of this. Researchers like Robert McCullough and many other people have done. There are physiological, psychological, spiritual aspects of gratitude, but gratitude, this is the only practice, if I want to tell you, you need to do is a practice of gratitude. And you can actually do in a very robust, in a radical way. Why? Just think about this for a few more seconds. Gratitude, you wake up in the morning. Did you ever think, oh my God, I am alive? Somebody just before the talk, today is I am actually being alive. I don't know how I'm alive. We are alive. You haven't done anything to deserve this day. The day is given to you. The day is given to you as a gift. So the only appropriate response to this day is to be grateful. To say thank you for this day. You have food in your fridge. You have roof. Think about migrant workers. Think about so many people do not even have food. They're walking miles, lying on the streets and dying. Think about you have eyes to see. You open up your eyes. Wow, new day. You have water to drink. People walk miles in Africa still. They don't have water. Every little thing we can be grateful about. And the response is being grateful. And you can do gratitude practice in a big way. Everyday small things in a big way. How and why? The research is, it is not the research, even the spiritual practices are, it's not that something good happens and happiness makes you grateful. If you are grateful, that makes you happy. If you are grateful and practice, that makes you happy. One of the most important proponents, Brother David Stendhal Rust, one of my teachers, he's a Benedictine monk and a Buddhist. I asked him, what practices should we do? Only one, be grateful. It's a radical gratitude of attitudes towards life. Don't take anything for granted. Think about this also. You cannot be grateful in the past. Yes, you can be grateful about the past things. You cannot be grateful in the future. If you are grateful in the present moment. That becomes mindful practice to be in the present. I am grateful for this little food. I'm grateful for this smile. I'm grateful for my little dog gives me a smile or jumps on my lap. I'm grateful for my little daughter singing me a song. I'm grateful to have an internet connection. I am grateful today in London, we don't have rain today. Oh my God, I'm sunshine. I'm grateful for everything. My practice of gratitude is I have some pebbles from the streets I have in one pocket. I see anything that I'm grateful for. I pick up one stone, I transfer into the other pocket, and in the end of the day, I count my blessings. And that's how positivity arises. The research is it changes your brain in 21 days. Now you'll ask, one of my children in hospital asked one day, she's so damaged by sexually abused, having PTSD, having ADHD, autism, and depression, anxiety, very complex. You are saying that I have to be grateful. You know, I've been abused every day for years. Okay, you cannot be grateful what is happening to you at this moment. People are dying. You cannot be grateful my father is dead today. You cannot be grateful I have an accident, but you are alive. That gives you an opportunity for the next moment to be grateful, to transform, to have something, do something, to change your life, to work with your fears, to work with your sadness, because I'm alive. It's that basic. It is not being grateful for sad things happening to me, but being grateful that next moment the opportunity arises in my life. The most important practice. And when you do that, meaning falls in our life. When you do that, you know how much blessed you are even to be alive today, even have a wife, even have a child, even have a friend, one friend that changed your life. We have probably 10 more minutes. Perhaps I will stop, and I wanted this to be not just a talk, but experiential. Let's take a pause together. Whoever you, I can't see everyone. Just have a mindful moment of pause and a simple mindful meditation together for perhaps 2-3 minutes, which you can use. I think somebody has to probably unmute yourself so that we don't hear sounds while we are doing this meditation. One of the things that practices you can bring in your everyday life is taking action, is mindful practices. I have talked about gratefulness. I have talked about stopping. We already talked about mindfulness, but we can have some informal practices. As I said, just having a cup of coffee, having a meal, but looking at the food, looking and smell, having a pause. These are informal practices. But let's have this experiential moment together with this opportunity that we are having globally today. Breathing mindful meditation. Meditation doesn't have a rule. People who have enforced rules and stuff is not needed. You need three things. Number one, intention to meditate. 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day will change your brain. You flex your spiritual muscles. Number two, attention. Pay attention. It can be a picture, photo. It can be a candle. It can be a cup of tea. It can be walking. It can be shaving. Or it can be a breath, which is always available. Intention, attention, and friendly attitude towards your practice. Oh, I can't meditate. No, I even have, when I went to the gym exercise, I couldn't exercise. The same things. The friendly attitude towards your meditation is important. Our monkey mind especially goes here and there in thinking and fears and anxiety. Bringing it back together in that attentive moment is important. Intention, attention, friendly attitudes towards practice. I will bring this bell of mindfulness for the beginning and end. But if you could have a straight posture, it doesn't have to be, you can lie down, you can sit. Important, you have a straight spine, not too fixed or rigid. You can close your eyes, but you don't have to. You can fix your eyes at one point somewhere. You can place your arms anywhere, again, doesn't matter. Place your feet if you're sitting on the floor firmly with an intention for few minutes to meditate. May I invite you to take a deep breath and let go. Relaxing on the chair or the bed, wherever you are, with an intention to be in a shared experience of mindful meditation. Taking another deep breath. Let go. And the third one, with a deep breathing in. More comfortable wherever you are in the part of this world. May I invite you to pay attention to the sensation of your breathing through your nose. You do not have to control anything. You do not need to force anything. Just pay attention as the breathing, as the air enters your nose and goes out. Perhaps pay attention to the tip of your nose. The fresh air coming in and out. Again, just be aware of the breathing. Nothing else is important at this moment. Breathing in and out as the best as you can. You will soon notice your mind is wandering here and there. Perhaps a noise, perhaps something moving, perhaps thinking, what is this about? That's okay. Do not judge your mind. That's what mind does. Bring it back to the sensation of breathing through your nose, in and out, as the best as you can. Paying attention in a friendly way without judgment. May I invite you to shift your attention to the sensation of your breathing on your tummy, on your belly, on your abdomen. As you're breathing in, abdomen inflates. Breathing out, it collapses. Breathing in, it stretches. Breathing out, it gently collapses to normal. Again, do not force your breathing. It's normal, effortless breathing. The only job to pay attention to the stretches of the abdominal muscles. Notice where mind goes. Mind is restless. Bring it back to the sensation of breathing on your tummy. Just bring back home. Be aware of your breathing, which is always there. Always there, an object of mindfulness. Feel that your body being gently breathed. As you're paying attention, every breath is becoming a prayer. You're aware of your breathing. Every breath is prayer and aliveness. Just pay attention for a few more seconds before we finish this meditation. Thank you. It brings us back from this talk to the present moment awareness. Simple, this practice 5 minutes wherever you can. Morning, doesn't matter, evening, night. Just bring yourself back of 2 minutes of practice of watching your breath on your chest, on your belly. Just be present. Remember, virus attacks the respiratory system. So you can be back to your breath and be alive with your breath. Every breath is a prayer. People who have praying, pray. Prayer is supremely powerful. There are lots of evidence, although sometimes contraindicatory. Researchers like Dean Radin has powerfully researched the presence of intercessory power. Pray. Doesn't matter. The pray beyond religiosity. It doesn't matter. Prayer is a positive affirmation. This too will pass. Say that to your brain and it becomes happen, because there is evidence saying positive affirmations shifts your negativity from right to left. This too will pass. Fear not. Death, thou shalt die. When I said fear not, again, Brother David told me that one sentence that is common in 4 canonical Bibles, fear not. Look into our traditional way, Mabhoi. If you look into Rabindranath, I'm just talking in Bengali, an able navigator, এক সক্ষম মাঝি, যদি মাতে মহাকাল উত্তম জটাজাল, ঝড়ে হয় লুণ্ঠিত, ঢেউ ওঠে উত্তাল, হয়েও নাখো সঞ্চিত শঙ্কিত, তালে তাল দিও তাল, জয় জয় জয়গান গাইও. He wants to celebrate at the time of crisis. হাই মারো মারো টান, হাইয়ো হাইয়ো, মাভই, fear not. That is the prayer. Stop. Shanti, shanti, shanti. And engage in community. When you pray, when you being together, looking after yourself in self-compassion, you are ready to be kind. Kindness comes from an old English word, sinde, a Middle English word, kinde. And then kind means family, kinship, When we are kind, we know we are a global family going through this suffering together. We have joys together. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Even in suffering, we are one. It's not the Chinese are dying a death differently than Americans or Indians or people in UK. There might be variants of viruses, but we are dying. We are still one. Vasudhaiva kutumbakam. You can start a kindness epidemic. We do not know how so many people in their small way having this epidemic, sharing food, sharing shelter, even feeding dogs, helping migrant workers. This is in loving kindness, metta. This is the inspired kindness that you can involve yourself and know when you do that, you become more alive. One of the most evidence-based work in happiness research is about benevolence, giving. When you relate to people, especially you do not know or whoever you know, when you give, when you are benevolent, you are happy. It's not a me world. It's not a transactional world. We know it doesn't work. Be kind. I'm talking in a mental health awareness month, and I'm talking about the dimensions of spiritual health, social health, physical health, behavioral health. It's a whole. Recovery, when I see a patient in a hospital, doesn't work in a mental health way. Like I'm doing a CBT, I'm throwing medication, I'm doing MBCT and all these therapies. It doesn't work unless we see the whole person, unless we are kind and intelligent kindness. We are skilled clinicians. I am highly expert in neurodevelopmental disorder. It doesn't matter. Do you ever remember how a surgeon made an incision? No. You'll remember how kindly that person spoke to you. We have that algorithm of kindness inbuilt and compassion in our brain. Bring that out. Education is about educare, comes from a Latin word. Bring it out. Bring what out? What is best in us? Kindness is the best in us. I will read. I have a couple more minutes and I will finish. I will read a poem of kindness by Naomi Shaibani. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like a salt in a weakened broth. What you held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. When we know we are suffering, our pain comes up, but you can transform this into kindness epidemic. You can transform into helping each other, sharing food, sharing emotions, supporting, coming back as a community. And this is what we learned today. And this gives us hope. Hope is not something in future. Hope is right here, right now, in a courageous trust in life. I'm going to finish with a loving kindness meditation again from our Vedic chants, but I will translate as we go. Let us be in together. Let us these vibrations, let this kindness flow within us. Om Sarve Sam Sastir Bhavatu. May you be well. Sarve Sam Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Om bhavatu. May you be in peace. May you be in wholeness. Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu. May you be blessed. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve vadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukkha bhaga bhavet. May you all be happy. May you all be healed. May you all enjoy well-being and none be in misery of any kind. Om Shanti. 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 Thank you. I'm deeply grateful for listening to me. Thank you, everyone.